Hello, Together Alone, day 70 something or other, 75, nearly 80, I don't know. Anyway, listen, what I wanted to talk about is we've stopped, lockdown is softening. It would seem to me that one of the most important criteria, and I haven't heard this mentioned, is how many people out there are there who are infectious, carrying the disease in a manner which is infectious. Now there's something called the COVID app. Lots of people have it. Dr. John Campbell has it. I have it. About 3 million people are rocking this app, and every day you log on and you say how you're feeling, and you say I'm fine or not, and have you had a test? And if you're not feeling fine and you've got the disease, then you're asked a lot of supplementary questions which establish whether you've got the disease or whether you haven't. Anyway, this app reckons that there are today, I don't know if you can see that, 242,965 people with the disease. Okay, so those are the amount of people that we can potentially catch this disease off of. I would imagine it doesn't include those people in care homes, although they must have some kind of algorithm. People in care homes don't rock mobile phones, do they? So it would be interesting to know whether we've managed to have a base point. This is a new starting point, really, with lockdown beginning to come to an end, a kind of softly way, compared to when we went into lockdown. So people will say, well, how do you know how many people were infectious when we went into lockdown? Well, we can actually work that out with some sort of fair accuracy. It depends on the infection fatality rate, not the case fatality rate, the infection fatality rate. So if we go to, this is a chart of deaths per day, yeah? You'll have seen this chart in lots of places. And it's peaked on the 10th of April, and there were 1,152 deaths, yeah, in all settings. It won't be completely accurate, it just won't. No numbers are accurate. But if we know the infection fatality rate, we can take that number and we can multiply that by the infection fatality rate and get an idea of how many people were carrying this disease on the 23rd, because that is 18 days after the 23rd of March, which was when we went into lockdown. And that's about right, because this disease has an incubation period of 2 to 3 to 4 days, and then before you die, it's around about 18-20 days. So yeah, that would make sense. If you look, there's a big peak there. Yeah, you see there's a big peak. Yeah, 1,152 deaths. So what is the infection fatality rate? Well, they reckon it's anywhere between 0.2% and 1.2%. And there's some Australians, and I rate the Australians, reckon it's about 0.75%. Now, 100 divided by 0.75 is 133. So, okay, Google, what is 133 multiplied by 1,152?
133 by 1,152 is 153,216.
Okay, 153,000. They reckon there's 153,000 cases, symptomatic cases, infectious cases on the 23rd of April. That is using an infection fatality rate of 0.75%. Now, there was another creditable study, so that means that's bad news. That's really bad news, because it means that the lockdown hasn't worked, that there's more infectious people now than there were when we started. Let's take another number. Another study, another creditable study, which was done in Italy on a village or a town, where they had some very good data. They tested absolutely everybody, and they did antibody tests, and they did The other test, we tested for people who actively had the disease. So they knew everybody who'd had the disease and those who had the disease currently. That study came up with an infection fatality rate of 0.37. I need to remind myself. Okay, Google, what is 100 divided by 0.37?
The answer is approximately 2.702703.
Okay, so 200 goes into it 270 times. Okay, Google, what is 270 multiplied by 242,000? No, sorry. Okay, Google, what is 270 multiplied by 1,100?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Neither did I. Okay, Google, what is 270 multiplied by 1,152?
270 by 1,152 is 311,040.
311,040. So that is 70,000 more infectious people than there are now currently running around. I'd also like to say that this COVID symptom checker, there's a graph, and lately that number ticked up. That number ticked up before we'd even finished. So it depends on the infection fatality rate, but it's very dicey as to whether the lockdown has managed to take infectious people out of our society, whether that's gone down, whether that number's gone down. I think it looks very unlikely. That's my hunch, because on the COVID symptom checker, this is the 242,965. That is not the bottom. Recently, it had a lower bottom. It went lower than that, and so it would suggest that it may be a slight statistical aberration, but it ticked up. It ticked up. Funnily enough, almost the day that we went into lockdown, the day that the lockdown ended. I mean, my biggest concern is VE Day, where I just don't think that people behaved in a sensible way. My hunch is that they probably didn't. But in 18 days or sooner, we will begin to get an idea. We will very quickly get an idea with the amount of cases. But in 18 days, we'll see how big our spanking is from this disease. I mean, the one person that they really don't consult in all of this is they don't listen to what COVID has to say. And they need to listen to what the rules are that COVID-19 sets for society. Because those are the only rules that apply. Politics doesn't matter, what you think doesn't matter, your opinion doesn't matter, your grandmother's opinion doesn't matter, even the professor's opinions doesn't matter. The only opinion that matters is the opinion that comes from the disease. And without treatment and without a vaccine, the disease will decide what happens next. And the disease will make a judgment on what we've just done, and whether this incredible set of vagueness that's come out of the lips of government ministers is going to work. I think we're going to get properly spanked. I'm sorry. Okay, listen, have a nice day, and stay safe. And if you're a sensible person, I would say keep your personal lockdown nice and tight, and use your common sense. Please, just, everything that brings people together will spread this disease, and everything that keeps people apart will kill it. Thank you.